Hey team, welcome back to Ross Spec. I'm back at Queensland Raceway to see if I can set some quicker times for the XR8, but I had to take the long way here. I tried to take it up to Morgan Park to see how she would go there, but she broke on the way. She's fixed now, but I'll show you what I've done to get her back. Come on, let's get into it. But what failed? Well, it was in the back wheel. It gave me the first audible indication something was wrong at a set of roadworks on the range heading to Morgan Park. It could have been making this noise before that, but I couldn't hear it over the exhaust. So look at this. The wheel is tight. It's not meant to be doing that. Rear wheel bearing. It doesn't surprise me that this one went. It has to be expected when you bring a car out of semi-retirement with over 260,000 Ks and start beating on it, and it's also the corner that takes the most load at QR. To get it out is similar to what I had to do for the rear axle seal. Wheel off, undo the axle nut, remove the brake caliper and hang it out of the way. Then remove the disc. I could get the ABS sensor out of the way, remove the bottom shock bolt, disconnect the handbrake cable and remove the shoe. Then I could remove the bolts from the upper and lower control arms, toe link and control blade. Then lift the knuckle out, catching the axle as I slid it out. But I wasn't going to stop at just fixing the wheel bearing, so I needed to fully remove the control blades. I thought I could just feed the ABS sensor back through the hole in the blade to make it clear. Unfortunately, the sensor itself was too big to go through the hole. So I had to remove the back seat and disconnect the sensor wire from inside and remove it from the car. Then the plug end fit through the hole, no worries. Then I could remove the final two nuts holding the control blade in and take it out. It was definitely a good time to take it out. The bush to the body was almost completely cooked. But that's not the reason I took it out. Down the track I'd like to run wider tyres than I currently have. And the width of the rear tyre at the moment is limited by the control blade because the inside of the tyre comes right up against it. So what I've gone with is these control blades from Delta Autosports. They're a billet aluminium and have a notch that allows a wider tyre, but no bush, so I need to put in a set of those first. I've gone with a set of SuperPro bushes to replace the factory ones. After greasing it up, I didn't have the right size step ring to pull it through. So I drilled a hole in a piece of scrap aluminium, pulled it most of the way through, then pushed it through the final bit by hand. Then after greasing the pin and the inside of the bush, I could push that in too. And then loosely bolt in the new control blade. Now I've got a nice new bearing in the knuckle, no wobble. Unfortunately I had to send this out. That's because the hub has to be pressed towards the outside of the car, and the bearing comes out towards the inside of the car. I had no way to hold the knuckle to press the hub out. There is a tool that goes through the 3 holes on the hub to be able to push it out, but I don't have one. I thought of balancing it on deep sockets, but they're too short and don't go through the holes. I was going to make up a plate with really long bolts, but I was worried that I was going to damage something, and in the end it only cost me $25 to get this changed out. It was worth it. Then it was time to go back in. Upper control arm, lower control arm, tie rod arm, lower shock bolt, and then connect the new control blade. Then I could jack the suspension up to ride height and tighten everything up. Reinstall the handbrake shoe and cable, and fit a new nut to the axle. Finally, torquing it all up. Then I could put the brake disc and caliper back on. And throw the wheel back on, but I did that too fast. I had to take it off again because I forgot to reinstall the ABS sensor. Then I could rinse and repeat for the control blade on the other side. Now it's time to hit the track. The last time I was out, the XR8 went quicker than it ever had, but it was still 0.2 seconds slower than Robin. I started out the session carefully, mostly because on the warm-up lap she was feeling a bit taily. But it wasn't long before I had the Supra and an Audi bearing down on me, so I had to get a wriggle on. The next lap was 2.5 seconds quicker, but I'm still in the low minute. Time to get serious. 59.6, 3 laps in and she's done it. Half a second quicker than her previous best and 3/10 quicker than Robin. I do prefer the official timing. It cut the stripe at 59.595, so 59.5? The next lap was good too. I was up by 2/10, but then coming out of the dipper, one wheel straight off the track. I laid down a nice licorice strip, did a bit of a slide across the track and threw it away. Then the final lap I was up again, but had a bobble in the corner and stuffed it too. The second session started with me trying too hard. I had a slide in the dipper, and on the next lap, I turned in late into turn 1 and thought I was going to fly off the track. But the third lap was good. Not as good as the first session, but only a 10th off. And then the next lap, I was up by almost 2/10 but had to slow through the final turn to make sure the Audi was going into the pits. There was no passing in the corners. On the final lap, I missed the apex at turn 1 again, but I was still up by a 10th exiting the dipper. But I was too conservative, under braking and threw the crossover and lost almost half a second. The third session was the last chance to try and lower the time, but I made a meal out of it, missing corners and sliding. Jumping over a ripple strip. Turning in too late. And mini burnouts. That's a single pegger. Might be time for a Truetrac. With the sprint track over, it was time to have another go at the Clubman track. .103.2, 3/10 lower than a previous best. On the next lap I was up by almost 4/10, but broke too late into the U-turn at the dipper and missed the corner. Then bumped the ripple strip in turn 5 and had a bit of a slide. On the last lap of the session, I was up again by almost 4/10, but stuffed the dipper again. And then hit the turn 4 ripple strip and had another slide. At the same time, I got an oil temperature warning again. Knowing that I wasn't going any faster, I rolled off and it cleared itself by the time I exited turn 5. Time for an early cool down lap. Since I'm still getting the temperature warning at the end of the Clubman session, I decided to pack up early and not run the next 2 sessions. All in all, it was a productive day. The car was still running, nothing was broken, and I could drive it home. She went quicker than she'd ever before, and on the sprint track, basically every lap that she completed was at or under her previous best. And she even moved up a spot on the power wall. The option time was a 59.4. Now I just need to put it all together to make it official. And she still had similar place on the Clubman track too, so that wasn't a one-off occurrence. Now it's time to have a look at cooling that oil temperature down and maybe throwing in another couple of pieces if time permits. Don't forget to like and subscribe to follow along with her journey, and until next time, remember, there's more to going fast than going fast. Catch you later.